went to a pumpkin patch with my family when I was little, and this is the story of how I got lost there and never found my way out. It was an October day and the sky was gray and cloudy, which wasn't ideal for a trip to the pumpkin patch, but my parents had already taken the day off work, and we had to go. As soon as we arrived at the pumpkin patch, my parents dropped me and my siblings off at the entrance and told us to pick out the biggest pumpkin we could find while they went to go pay for our tickets. My siblings and I wandered around looking for the perfect pumpkin. And by perfect, I mean the biggest one we could carry. We were so focused on finding the biggest pumpkin that we didn't notice how dark it was getting, and we didn't realize that we had wandered pretty far away from the entrance. When we finally found the perfect pumpkin, we brought it back to the entrance where our parents had told us to meet them, but they weren't there. We waited a few minutes, but they still weren't there. So we decided to go look for them. We walked around the pumpkin patch calling their names, but they didn't answer. They must have gotten lost too, we thought. So we decided to walk around the entire pumpkin patch to look for them. As we were walking, we started to panic because we couldn't find our parents anywhere. And then we realized that we didn't know where we were. The sun had set a while ago, and now we were lost in a pumpkin patch in the middle of nowhere. We started to run, pushing our way through the rows and rows of pumpkins, tripping over vines and branches, scraping our hands and knees. We were so scared. We ran until we came across a fence. It was too tall for us to climb over, but there was a gap in the middle. We crawled through the gap and found ourselves in a corn maze. We didn't know where we were or how to get out, so we started to run again, weaving in and out of the corn stalks. After what felt like hours, we finally found the end of the corn maze. We ran as fast as we could to the parking lot, where we had seen cars earlier. When we got to the parking lot, we were too scared to get in our car because we didn't know if our parents were in there or not. We didn't want to get in their car and drive off without them. Then we heard footsteps. We turned around and saw the scariest thing ever. 2 people walking towards us. They were tall and thin, and their faces were pale and white. They were wearing masks. We screamed and ran as fast as we could, as fast as our little legs would carry us, away from the 2 people in masks. We ran until we got to our car. We locked the doors and hid. When we finally looked out from between the window blinds, the 2 people were gone. We let out the breath that we had been holding and collapsed on top of each other, crying. Then we started to scream for help, for our parents, for anyone who could hear us. We didn't know what those 2 people were, but we knew that we didn't want to be alone in that parking lot. And then we heard a voice. It was our dad. He was calling our names. We ran to the other side of the car and hid. He was almost at the car. We couldn't make a sound. We just watched as he walked past our car and continued to call our names. We don't know how long we sat there, but eventually we heard our mom's voice. She was calling our names too. And then we saw her. She was running towards us. We don't remember much after that. Our parents scooped us up and held us as tight as they could. We cried and cried and cried. And then they started to scream at us, telling us that we shouldn't have wandered off. But all we could think about was how scared we had been and how we would never, ever go into a pumpkin patch again.